Daniel Coulier, Fred Hampton was about that life. So are you the Judas to our black Messiah? Are you the Judas to our black Messiah? From D.C. Oaktown to Chi-Town, we no longer can lie down. Our eyes must realize and recognize the lies and the truth of disguise. The revolution will be digitized. The revolution will give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will get rid of the nub. The revolution will make you fat for being weak because you eat red meat from them unhealthy burger joints. The revolution will be digitized from Easter rays. These times have me so insecure. It's a snowfall by John Singleton. So don't be a baby boy and think with your eyes and realize the revolution is being digitized. From your life insurance to your driver license, lawmakers write the license to take it all digital. It is pivotal you realize the revolution is being digitized, my brothers and sisters. There will be pictures of Kim Kardashian. There will be pictures of Kim Kardashian getting clemency for Alice Marie Johnson. There will be pictures of George Floyd being murdered trial as the blue walls fall. There will be pictures of white people breaking glass and burning buildings, trying to give peaceful protests of Black Lives Matter a bad name, but we got game. There will be pictures of the police shooting Rashad Brooks in the back on instant replay. There will be pictures of the police shooting Rashad Brooks in the back on instant replay. There will be pictures of Floyd Mayweather trying to weather the trolls of 50 cents. Be careful what you place on social media. It will take your sense. The revolution will be digitized. Dear white people who want to be blackish, mixes, go get grownish. Being on lockdown got me going to the ATL, reminiscing about my 20s in the shop. Because I am an all-American who woke. But I dance in the snowfall with Queen Sugar on Black Monday, going to a love country for some P-Valley with sisters who are the real housewives of Atlanta for life. I accept Bob Love Abishola trying to get a laugh from Keenan, but I FaceTime my godfather in Harlem. I FaceTime my godfather in Harlem because Hollywood needs to equalize it because I have children, so I don't watch Schitt's Creek. I check out Craig in the Creek to watch their minds' eyes realize the revolution is being digitized. There will be highlights on the 10 o'clock news of Tiffany Haddish winning a Grammy for filming or while filming. Kids say the darndest things, and she is the black mitzvah. To liberation, Robin Roberts coming out that she's LGBTQ. I am a new, not a Q, but I HBC you with this Nipsey hustle as the marathon continues. You will hear the song Montero by Little Nas X. Can you solve the variable of X? I am DMX. From King Tut to X. As I walk in Satan's shoes, and the blood on the bottom of these red shoes are on the sole of my feet is walking from systemic racism, institutional oppression, police brutality, poor housing, healthcare, and the financial inequities of America. Despite this, I walk through the valley of death, America, to bring you into the sunlight, America. You still will hear the words. You still will hear the written words of Sonia Sanchez, Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, Gwendolyn Brooks, and Jessica care more. Because I care more to realize and recognize the revolution is being digitized. The revolution will fight drugs to cause bad rap. The revolution will fight drugs to cause bad rap. The revolution will put you right back after these messages about white tornadoes, white hurricanes, and white people will be a part of the solution and the revolution. The revolution will go with water to get that natural surge, but let me diverge. It was an angry white mob that did that insurrection on 01062021. If that was me, I would be the dead one on Capitol Hill. When the bill couldn't walk up Capitol Hill. When the bill couldn't walk up Capitol Hill. White supremacist men and women having a noose to hang other white men. I mean, evil beyond hate. We must stop Asian hate. We must stop black hate. We must stop brown hate. So let me help you unmask your eyes and realize the revolution is being digitized. The revolution will fight you on the car bad breath. The revolution will put you in electric four-wheel drive. The revolution will be live. From the Wet Arrays to Good Morning Black News Channel, I channel this bad moon rising in prime time to one highway to my frat brother Ryan Smith, aka Deuce Baby, who won a Super Bowl with the Baby. From uptown to downtown, from the suburbs right here in the hood. From Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and yes, still to Tiger Woods. These spoken words are public enemy number one because knowledge reigns supreme over everyone. I bring knowledge to the brains. I'm working on my cryptocurrency gains. To the millennial generation, listen to Drake, know yourself, as I am with her to fight for you. To be true to you, the revolution is being digitized. From money to art, from the end to the start, from pop, reggae, jazz, rock to hip hop. These spoken words won't stop like raindrops. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. Because my eyes realize, recognize the lies and the truth of the skies. The revolution be digitized, the revolution be digitized, the revolution be digitized, the revolution be digitized. The revolution be no reruns, my brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tribute to Gil Scott and Ron, and also the lovely Miss Nasia Roberts. Like I said, I had the opportunity to meet her several weeks ago as she embarked on this monumental project, the Black Wall Street Digital Financial Revolution National Charitable Tour. She's been in this space since 2013. She's one of the foremost thought leaders. She started her own big chain Bitcoin crypto company, Crypto Blockchain Plug, in 2018. She's one of 3 business executives in America with a brick and mortar big chain Bitcoin exchange. That means you can go to her office, you have a Bitcoin, exchange it for money, and or buy one with her. And it's in the hood, in Inglewood, in LA. She is truly about freeing our people from financial bondage in the spirit of Harriet Tubman. Philly, Germantown, come on now. Let's give a nice, warm Philly, Germantown welcome for the lovely Miss Nasia Roberts. Yeah, thank y'all for y'all patience.
All I can say, Philly, is we made it today. It has been challenge after challenge. Y'all here in Philly are gonna have to take care of our RV because it just went kaput today, right here. So we have been dealing with our challenges. Yeah. And then when we got back from dropping off the RV, they had changed the locks on the door of the hotel. Not just changed the lock, literally took the lock off and changed it, and they couldn't even get in to get our clothes and stuff out.
Oh, wow.
So I said something was keeping us from talking to Philly today, but we are here, we are ready, we appreciate each and every one of you for your patience, because we're not late on purpose. All right, so as we gather ourselves today, and thank you to you all again for being patient and waiting. I just know this is probably going to be the best presentation of the tour because it took so much today to get here. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we're doing this tour for the Black Wall Street Wallet, it is a new digital wallet that is going to allow us to store our cryptocurrency. So we're going to talk about the Black Wall Street Wallet just a little bit later. But before I get started, one of the major reasons why we're doing this tour across the country is to really meet our folks where they are. Because in this space, we have realized that we've got to do something extra fast, meaning we've got to put on our roller skates to educate our community, because if we do not learn, we're going to get left. As I began, well, just quickly about me, because I don't want to go into any of that, but I used to be in financial services, the regular 401k, annuities, insurance, all those things. So I tell everybody I left the old money for the new money. I've been in the new money now since 2017, and our community has got to really get a grasp on this, so we're here today. So as I deal with our folks, and I love our folks, we got into financial services originally for our folks, but what we realized is that something important needs to be said about the fact that in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. And at that particular time, 1863, Black folks in America own less than 1% of the wealth in this country. And here we are today, 157 years later, and Black folks in America own 1%, less than 1% of the wealth in the United States. And it has gotten very, very sickening because it's not getting any better. The wealth gap is getting further and further and further. And we firmly believe that if our community does not get the next 5 years right, we are going to be forever, because we're already an underclass, we are going to be forever the underclass in this country. And so when I got an opportunity to learn about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, I finally, as a financial advisor, thought or saw something hopeful for our community that we could do. Now, don't get me wrong, real estate is great. You can do your real estate, 401ks, insurance, annuities, all of those things are great. But what we need to be doing in our community is adding cryptocurrency to our portfolios. That's all I'm saying. Continue doing what you're doing, but what I'm talking about today is diversification. If you do not have Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in your portfolio, you're going to be left behind. Just so you get a quick number of the other communities are talking to their high net worth clients about holding 30% of their wealth in cryptocurrencies. So if the high net worth people are holding 30% in their portfolios and our community don't even have $3 worth, we are in some massive trouble. So there's three groups of individuals that I'm asking the community to work with me to help. And again, this is something that we're going to be doing. This isn't a one and done. We will be back to Philly. We definitely will be back to make sure that you all are getting the continued things that you need to help you in the community. But there's three sets of Black folks that I'm really worried about in this country. First of all, the Black folks that have never even heard of the word cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. They're everywhere. You talk to them about Bitcoin and they're looking at you like a deer in the headlights. They have no idea what you're talking about. Those individuals have got to start getting the information, or we've got to start planting a seed and helping our community at least start to research what those things are. The second group of people that in our community that I'm super worried about are those that are getting into the cryptocurrency space on the get rich quick tip. Our community is always about making some money really, really quick, flipping it, and taking it out and doing some other things, and they're to their detriment because they don't understand this space. They're going to have a lot of things to deal with, and it's not going to be this year or next year. But I will say this, that the IRS has just been allotted an additional $60 billion to bring folks on staff to understand this cryptocurrency space. So while we're pulling this money out, we're making and flipping and doing all these things, the issue with that is once they get it together, they're going to really start doing some oddities. So for our community, why that matters most to me is because some of our sisters and brothers that have and rely on some of these public service, social service funds, unfortunately, a lot of those things are going to be pulled because people aren't thinking about the ramifications of getting involved in this cryptocurrency space and pulling it out. Whereas if they purchased it and held it and allowed it to grow, where they can supplement their income, where they didn't need those subsidized funds, they would be better off. And so we really got to get the education out there because it's really getting ready to become a problem. Because I'm seeing how many people are pulling out of these cryptocurrencies and they don't even realize that they're being reported to the IRS and they think that they're doing this stuff anonymously, and it's not anonymous. This is not an anonymous space. You can try your very best, but at the end of the day, you got to be thinking about where and how you obtained your telephone. If you put your social security number with Verizon or any of those things, all of that stuff tracks back to your IP addresses, your phones, all of those things. So we have got to be a little bit smarter. You got to get up way earlier to deal with the cyber type of things that you need so that this cryptocurrency space does not come back to you for those that are in that space. But I see a lot of our community that's functioning that way. They don't feel like this is going to affect them, and it definitely will. The third class of people in our community that I'm worried about are those that I used to service in the old money space. They have 401ks or they got annuities, they got savings, they have houses and other things, and they feel like they've arrived and they don't really need to get involved in this space. And so that is a terrible mistake that those in our community that feel like they're good and they don't have to deal with this, they're going to have to deal with cryptocurrency whether they like it or not. And I'll explain why in a little while. Because all of those assets that we currently hold, we have no idea what is about to happen. We had no idea last year that we'd be sitting in our houses for a year. People didn't think it could happen, but it did. Something is happening with money. Money is changing form, and we have got to continue to learn, but we've got to educate our community that the dollar is changing, money is evolving, and in the next 5 years, we're going to be in a whole other space. So it's either we learn or get left. And I always say, if you know better, you do better. So that being said, talking to our community most of the time, I understand that most of us don't even understand how or why we got to this space we're in today. So as we talk about the evolution of money, how we got here, I'm just going to start just really quickly so we can allow you all to ask questions. Running through this, we started off in human history, barter. Barter for things like cows and chickens. You had eggs, I had milk. We would barter back and forth, and then that became complicated. So we've used things throughout history to tell how much wealth somebody has and or to trade for goods and services. Things like sticks and rocks and beads. We've even used tulips for flour. Some people have even used salt. But the problem with those things is there was no cap on the amount of that could be found. So if somebody wanted to be more wealthy than the next person, they just go find a tree and cut off some more sticks, and they be the richest one in the community. And so they had to find a real measure of wealth, but also something that people can utilize on a day-to-day basis to trade for goods and services. So they moved into something that they found in the earth called gold. So 5,000 years ago, gold was established as the store of value where people can utilize gold for goods and services, but mostly a store of value. So right now, today, there is $10 trillion in gold. Something happened in 1913, and I know you all have been waiting a long time, so I'm just going to rush through this without asking questions. Make sure that you all know that in 1913, a group of men got together on an island called Jekyll off the coast of Georgia. And when they got on this island, they formed something called the Federal Reserve Bank. So most of us are not aware that the Federal Reserve Bank is no more federal than Federal Express that drops your packages off at your door. The Federal Reserve System is the grandfathers of most of the banks that you know today. They hold the wealth in this country and beyond, they hold it. And so when they formed the Federal Reserve, this United States wasn't yet beholden to them. They wanted to run the money all over the world and in the United States, but they weren't, the U.S. wasn't beholden to them because we all had our gold on our different farms or whatever we were doing. But in 1933, the president gave an executive order. 1933 gave people 3 weeks to turn all of their gold in to the Federal Reserve Bank, its members, or anybody associated with the Federal Reserve Bank. So all of the wealth in America went to the Federal Reserve bankers and the Federal Reserve Bank. So they stored that gold in Fort Knox. We all know that the gold is there, but they had to give us something in return. So how many of you are old enough to remember those silver dollars and those half a dollars that our grandparents used to have? That is what they gave us in place of our gold, so we could still measure our wealth, but they had the wealth. They just gave us these little coins that they're making. And then they started with this thing called fiat. That is the paper dollar that you hold in your pocket or your purse. And if you look up the word fiat, F-I-A-T, it stands for paper money that has no intrinsic value other than what the government places on it. And the reason why we went to fiat is because President Nixon, well, a little bit before that, but President Nixon took us off the gold standard. And again, I usually do a quick quiz, but I'm going to tell y'all the reason why President Nixon took us off the gold standard is because the gold came up missing out of Fort Knox. And to this day, nobody knows where it is, and nobody is asking any questions. And if you don't believe me, start Googling it and try to figure out where 70 truckloads of gold went. It just disappeared in thin air, and ain't nobody talking about it. Well, our dollar is not backed by gold anymore. And so one of the things that I want to point out is that in 2020, and check your facts, we printed more money in this country than we have in the last 20 to 30 years. So something is about to happen as it relates to the fiat money we have in our pocket. It is a deflationary thing. It is beginning to lose its value. The more they print, the less it becomes worth because there's a whole lot of things going on in that space. But people argue that it's not going to cause inflation, which it is. And our communities, unfortunately, are going to be the ones that suffer. So what does inflation look like? Prices are higher, which already in our hood, they're already the highest prices. Unless you go shop on the other side of town, and you see that our organic vegetables and different things are even cheaper than some of the stuff that we have in our neighborhoods. But how it's going to affect us a little bit more, and for those of you women and men that go shopping, I guarantee you the next time you go to the grocery store, your orange juice carton, or if you get the plastic orange juice container, it costs the same as it has the last year or two. But the issue is it's no longer a gallon. It's a little bit less than a gallon. And so what that means to us is that we need more of the product to take care of our family. So it doesn't look like inflation, but it absolutely is. And it's absolutely going to hurt our community the most because we're already trying to make ends meet because we don't have all the things in place like we should because of systemic racism. And I know that systemic racism runs deep in our financial system because I watch it all the time. Their interest rates in other communities are 1%, 0.5%, 2%, and then you get over here and they have interest rates at 5, sometimes 8. I've seen people come in for financial coaching. They've got 21% interest credit cards. In California, payday loans is 2,400% to get a loan on a payday before your payday. They are robbing and raping our community and have for the very longest. So as we move into money evolving, we move from this fiat thing, which is not backed by gold anymore, to credit cards. So they've taught us really well how to spend money we don't have. And we just pay it off in time. That has really hurt our community. And then when we go to the next part of our stage in the evolution of money, we come up on these things that we're already using. You're already in the digital space, family. I'm just telling you, where we are with cryptocurrency is just the next step. We're already in the digital space. How many people use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal or Apple Pay? You put your check in the bank and you automatically use these things. Most of us don't even hardly carry fiat dollars anymore. But they keep our money on some ledger somewhere, and we know we can look at our phone, and this is how much we have to spend. So that is where we are in the stage. But the next step in the evolution of money is cryptocurrency. So how I really got involved in cryptocurrency is, again, as an ex-financial advisor, really trying to find something that was going to benefit my people. But as I started to study this space and go to conferences, I realized that nobody else in our community was learning this information because out of 2,000 or 3,000 people, there would only be me, my husband, and maybe 1 or 2 other black people there. And that would be the cameraman or the security guard. And I make a joke that we're on the front brochure of everybody's events because we were the only black. We made it look diversified, so we had pictures everywhere. So, but what I really realized is that those guys going to those conferences had more money than we could ever dream of having. And I watched one time a gentleman next to me in excess of $350,000 he transferred while sitting next to me in a seat listening to a speaker at a cryptocurrency convention with holes in the bottom of his sneakers. His hair looking disheveled, a t-shirt looks like he rolled out of the bed 3 weeks ago, and holes in his pants. And I realized that we are missing something. We're missing something huge because nobody in our community is talking about it. So there are currently registered, as of today, 9,144 cryptocurrencies. So most of you are just learning about Bitcoin, but there are 9,000 coins out there plus that we need to start not peeking our eye to, but really starting to pay attention to how things are changing. So you're not using them right now. They're not for sale right now, but Pepsi has a coin. So if you buy a potato chips for your kids, go look at the Frito-Lay bag and flip it on the back. You'll see Pepsi coin. Nike just filed a patent for crypto kits because they're planning. All of these companies are getting blockchain technology sections so that they can begin to understand how to utilize and make this thing work. And I can tell you, Disney has a coin, Hollywood movies has a coin. You name it, they've got coins out there. They're just not talking about it right now because they're trying to figure out how to get in this space. So the point of this is I'm going to talk to you about how to get ahead of these companies because they're starting to get it together. But if we get it together first, they've got to buy stuff from us in order to make their mechanisms and their coins work. So today we're going to specifically talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is an ascending asset, period. They don't consider it an asset, they consider it property when you're talking about taxes and some of those things. And we have a cryptocurrency tax expert that you can talk to. I can answer a few minor questions, but they consider it property. I'm talking about cryptocurrency as an asset because of the fact that if you take Bitcoin and you compare it to gold, it is almost identical. And let me share with you again, remember, gold has been around for 5,000 years, has a market cap of $10 trillion. Well, Bitcoin has only been around 12 years. Bitcoin by itself has a market cap of $1.2 trillion. So, ladies and gentlemen, what that means is those other communities are taking their money from under the mattresses, from out of their 401ks, from out of these IRAs, from out of all of these other things that they were used to storing their money in because they are starting to hedge against inflation. You're going to start hearing the word, we're hedging against the dollar. That's what their community is doing. And what I do and what I've been doing well for a long time as a financial advisor is following the money. So when I look at the cryptocurrency space, yes, there's 9,100 coins, but where is the dominance? And I'm going to say it that way. Where is the dominance? Where is everyone putting their money? They're putting their money in Bitcoin specifically. Bitcoin holds about a 65% dominance, and then the other 9,145 coins share the rest of that percentage. But Bitcoin is first. You know why? Because they're holding Bitcoin at their colleges and their endowment funds. They're buying Bitcoin and holding it on their church books, in their businesses. They're just not talking about it. And what I'm really understanding is every single way that they can take advantage of buying an asset and holding it without selling it, they're taking advantage of it. And our community is not doing any of that. So we've got to really start to look at and understand Bitcoin. And again, I'm not here to convince you that you need to be using Bitcoin. I'm trying to help you understand what it means to really hold it in a second. So gold, 10 trillion, Bitcoin, 1.2 trillion. Gold can be used anywhere in the world. You take it anywhere in the world. If you have a couple of nuggets, you can transfer it into the local currency. Bitcoin is exactly the same. They don't use Bitcoin a whole lot here in the United States, even though we're using it every day. But there's cities, entire cities, like a city called Bitcoin Beach. All they use is Bitcoin. They're not here in the United States. If you look at Amsterdam, all they're using is cryptocurrency. As we're traveling right now, you all would not even guess how many mayors we have had private counsel with that want to turn their cities into cryptocurrency cities. And we are up for the charge because they're talking about doing it in Black communities. And that's first and foremost important to us. So we're definitely going to assist. But the Bitcoin is that store of value. So gold has always been the store of value. The thing that I love about Bitcoin, and there's a whole bunch of different reasons, is it's self-sovereign. We don't have to be these high net worth individuals. We don't have to go get qualified to participate in any of this. You can qualify wherever you are. If you are on I don't know what they call it here, but AFDC or county aid, TANF, whatever they call it, you can participate. If you're on Social Security, you can participate because you don't have to have a lot of money to get started with this asset. But one thing is certain, again, this asset has been proven for the last 12 years to do nothing except 200% across the board. So this asset is something that we really need to learn about and get ourselves acclimated to trade buying and holding. And I'm going to say that I'm not a financial advisor anymore, providing any financial advice, but my suggestion to you is to buy and hold, because if you sell your Bitcoin or you go and buy something with your Bitcoin, in my opinion, you're looking at a lemon tree and you're pulling green lemons off that have not yet gotten ripe. And you just haven't waited for them to turn yellow and nice and sweet. Why do I say that? Because in 2017, about the time that I just was super excited about the Bitcoin I held and heard that all these Fortune 500 companies were accepting Bitcoin, I ran to Bed Bath & Beyond and bought myself a fabulous juicer for $150. And that juicer sits on my counter right now at $2,100 in value. And I have to say to myself, am I going to continue to do this type of thing, or am I just going to allow it to get right? Because it's not right yet. And for those of you who are basking in the fact that Bitcoin has dropped in price today, all I can say is Bitcoin is on sale, and you better stack some more Satoshis, because we are in a race to buy as much Satoshis. And for those of you who don't know what Satoshis is, Satoshis are the smallest increment of the Bitcoin. So there are 100 pennies in a dollar, 100 pennies are in a dollar, 100 million Satoshis are inside of a Bitcoin. So we're stacking Satoshis. Stop thinking about the $55,000 or $50,000 Bitcoin. That's not a reason for most of us. But what we're looking at is what a million Satoshis looks like. So what does a million Satoshis look like? That's our goal in our Black community, is that every family have 1 million Satoshis. Right now today, that's $500, almost $500. So you can hold a million Satoshis that you shouldn't be spending, going to buy no Jordans, none of that. We're talking about holding this million Satoshis. Why? Because those of us that are in this space all day, every day, that are watching and seeing what is happening, we don't know when, we don't have a crystal ball, but I firmly believe, and not in my lifetime, so I'm going to say that, not in my lifetime, but I firmly believe that every Satoshi will be equivalent to the dollar. So if we're looking at having a Bitcoin eventually after you stack your Satoshis, if you have a million Satoshis that you're even passing on to your children, and Bitcoin hits 50 cents, they've got, you hear what I'm saying, right? They've got $500,000. And that's something that you can pass on today for a little or nothing, because a Satoshi only costs less than a penny right now. So if you bought 1,000 Satoshis today, it will cost you like 50 cents. So we've got to start looking at reframing this thing, because people keep looking at Bitcoin and saying it's too expensive, they cannot afford to participate. But you can. You can at whatever level you want to. If you want to give $1 to buy Satoshis, you can do that. $5, $100, it does not matter. We just want you to start. So what I'm suggesting again, that every Black family in America have a million Satoshis, roughly $500 today. When I started the tour, it was about 580, but today it's 500. So maybe you don't have 500. So again, you come up with a number in your mind that you can do every month consistently, and it's called dollar cost average. So if that number looks like $25, you say every Friday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to buy $25 worth of Satoshis. And you do that Friday after Friday after Friday. It gets lower in price like this Friday. You might even throw another 25 with that 25 and get you some more Satoshis. Because the amount of Satoshis that you buy will never increase. It's just the value that the Satoshi has is what increases. So if you buy a million Satoshis at $500, next week that same million Satoshis will be there, but only the value may be $650, as opposed to what it is right now. And so what you want to do is just stack sats. That's what we're saying. Stack sats, Satoshis. So who is Satoshi too, really quickly? Satoshi Nakamoto is this anonymous person who made Bitcoin or created Bitcoin, wrote the code for Bitcoin on this technology called the blockchain. So Bitcoin was designed, family, as a revolution. It was a revolution and out of anger about the fact that our banks continue to get bailouts and our people continue to suffer. So Bitcoin was designed as a peer-to-peer way to basically cut out the banks so that we can take finances into our own hands, be our own self-sovereign person. And throughout this process, a couple of different things have happened where they're starting to try to get us back into that space of buying Bitcoin and allowing them to hold it for you. That is not what this space is about. This space is about you buying your Bitcoin, you being in control of your private keys and or your wallet and your passwords, not where you have to go and ask anybody else, can I get it out of the bank or can I get it off your exchange? So, so that is what Bitcoin, well, that's not all Bitcoin is about, but that's why Bitcoin was birthed. The other important fact that you need to know and why you need to be stacking Satoshis is because you need to know that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever created. And it was designed that way by Satoshi Nakamoto to be a scarce asset because he, she, they, black, white, Mexican, we don't know who it is, they realized that they made this asset that was scarce and that was able to be not be printed just like money is just printed at will. If they made this scarce asset, that the supply versus the demand would be so great that this coin will go all the way up to $100 billion. Because that's what we feel it will eventually be. And again, it may be my grandkids' kids that see this, but at least great-great-grandmama put enough Satoshis away to make sure that that can be possible. Because we talk about it all the time. This is the house that Big Mama built. Well, in our communities, most of us are selling Big Mama's house as soon as something happens. And so we've got to really change this cycle and help our young kids, our millennials understand that you're building something, but also you're building something that could very well save Big Mama's house if it's not in the right position. Because we need to stop selling in our community. And so all of these things are the messages that we're bringing out to the community. But we definitely need your help to start talking about it, to start getting people on Clubhouse so they can hear this from people that look like them and that are in their community. We're on there every day teaching for free. So what I'm telling y'all is do not pay anybody to teach you this game. This game is really a game. You got to know how to play it, but you need somebody who's really on the inside looking out every day because this thing, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And most of us are in contact with most of the owners from these different wallets, from these different coins. So we know what people are with the BS. Y'all just get on Clubhouse and ask us. We'll tell you. Because I see them laughing. First they were laughing at their community about Dogecoin. And then they laughing at our community about Dogecoin. And we're going to get into what alternative coins are in a minute. And I know some of y'all made some money, and y'all not going to like what I'm saying, but they laughing at y'all. Because y'all making this little bit of money, and they're making billions of dollars off our community. Because they're good at studying us. They know we like to spend. They know we like to get rich quick. And they know our stimulus checks will come. So they had us hooked up. Tell y'all how they hooked y'all up in a minute. So with that being said, Bitcoin is a scarce asset, and it is, in my opinion, for wealth creation. So when you look at the whole 9,144 something coins, I'm not telling you not to invest in the other ones, but I am telling you that it's time for you to learn how to decipher the purpose or the price. And that's how I look at stuff from here on out. And I'm going to cover coinology. So I can tell y'all something. I haven't did. I bought every coin. I had another $10 or $15 in my pocket. I bought it because it was a tenth of a penny, and I bought it like 3 or 4 years ago. I bought Dogecoin. Why did I buy Dogecoin? Because I was laughing with the boys that I sit with, that I learned in this space, that would be chickens with Dogecoin, because it's a joke. It was for that purpose. Drinking beer, eating pizza. I was drinking beer, but I watch it really closely. So I go and I hang out. I'm the only little speck on the crowd, but I learn how they function in this space. And so I'm sharing with you all that even though it's a meme coin, it's more of a meme coin than you think. And I think that right now, Elon Musk, who is he's not the CEO, well, he's something with Tesla. I think they kicked him off the board or something. But I think right now his feelings are hurt. He has something to prove. So every day this week, since it's coin that he was trying to pump to y'all, he ain't pumping, he's pumping it to y'all. But I think his feelings is hurt, so he's just constantly putting out stuff. If you look all this week, he's been coming up with all this stuff to make you all feel like, I think him and what's the guy that's over the Mavericks, I can't think, Mark Cuban.